really quick. All right, so welcome to our guests. By a show of hands, or give me a reaction below. How many people are here in this room for their very first time? Please give me a raise of hands, say something, or give me a reaction down below in an emoji. Anybody here for their first time? Everyone's been here before? Cool. Thought I saw some new names. Okay, cool. Let's get right in. Who is that?
Teresa.
Hi, Teresa. How are you? Welcome to group coaching.
Hi, good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. So for people that have been here before, let's go to Gabrielle. Gabrielle, what can Teresa expect in this environment?
I would say, especially on Wednesdays, expect to learn. We usually focus on factual stuff today and observations in the market, but we also learn different ways of doing things, other people's strategies. Overall, we talk about a lot of different things, but it always relates back to real estate, which is great because real estate's a very individual and personal practice. So yeah, that's what I expect to learn.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, guys. So there's say again, Teresa.
I said I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Now, Teresa, are you Italian or are you Sicilian?
I'm Vietnamese.
Oh, you're Vietnamese. I saw the Carpio. I was like, wait a minute, is that Sicilian or Italian?
No, Carpio is actually my ex-husband's last name, who is a Filipino, but I just never changed it. It's too much work.
Right. Hey, my mom's been divorced from my father for like 34 years and still carries the Studo name. So I get it. All right. So let's get right into this, you guys. Locally, we're definitely seeing a shift. And now this is not a complete drop in prices, but what we are seeing is some normalization and some stabilization. These are words that I want you guys to put into your vocabulary when you're communicating with a consumer. Are we getting back down to where prices are going to significantly drop? Not now, but what we're experiencing is we're experiencing less and less of that 20 offers on one home. Hey, granted, there are homes that are still getting tons and tons of offers, but what we're seeing is we're seeing less multiple offers on these homes. And we're not seeing that $250,000, $300,000 over, because I know that you all face those situations, which was absolutely gut wrenching and a punch in the face. Sometimes you're like, how can my clients even compete? And then how can you help them understand that, hey, you guys aren't going to be in a positive equity for probably the next 4 or 5 years. And then you deal with buyers that are 33, 34 years old that are sitting on tons of buyer's remorse, right? They got into this home, they were in Maxwell Park, they fucking wanted to live there. They went all in, $220,000 over, no contingencies, didn't even care about the inspection reports. Now they have to do some work on the roof, they have to do this, they have to do some Section 1 clearance, and they're still $200,000 behind. And so they're sitting back, and once all the emotion settles, once all of the adrenaline settles, now they're sitting at home like, babe, did we do the right thing? Wait, did we? Like, it's really hard. Did we do the right thing? So you're going to have those types of emotions coming up. And so the buyer's remorse is real. But at the end of the day, the long-term, long game, it's all going to be worth it. But trust me, there's a lot of buyers out there that are second guessing the decisions that they made because they purchased the house for so much higher over. We are seeing that come down a little bit, still competitive nonetheless, but I think we're going to get back to some type of normalcy. So I was watching this video. I want to share it with you guys today. I want you guys to watch it, dissect it, and I want you to take some really good thought tracks from it because I thought it was really, really impactful, and it's really easy information to digest. So in 2020, 1 out of 10 Americans moved in 2020, which is crazy. For the first time in California history, check this out, first time in California history, which our state became a state in 1850, our population dropped by 182,000 people. That's nuts to even think about, right? When you think about this migration westward, I'm going to California, right? I'm in the Midwest, I'm going to California. I'm gonna make the dreams happen. I'm doing the Hollywood thing. I want the beach, I want the sun, I want the weather, right? And to think for the first time in the history of our state, 182,000 people left the state. Well, when I'm thinking, it's like, well, where are they going? This video will show you, obviously, they're going to the Sun Belt, along the bottom part of the country. Arizona, obviously a key point where people are going. Austin, Texas, where people go in, Florida, places that have tons of sunshine. But I would think, well, who are the top agents in these areas and who is handling their relocation, right? I would want to just to do some discovery and call these people and be like, hey, I know that you're probably getting some leads from California. I'd like to be able to partner with you. And as soon as you get a call for a house that they want to see out in Austin, Texas, say, hey, do you have a home that you need to sell in California before you come here? Well, yeah, we do. We're going to look at a local realtor. Perfect. I know somebody, her name's Gabrielle. She can help you out in California. Let me connect you guys. That way we can all work in sync and make sure that this transition is pretty smooth. I would look at these key cities that people are moving at. I would find some top agents and be like, hey, do you need a partner person in California? Because I could be that person. I got the plug here in California. I got the resources. I got everything on lock. I want to make sure to form some partnerships. When you think about big companies like Coldwell Banker, I was there for many years. They have a relocation department. They have relocation specialists. And if you guys have ever worked for a brokerage that had that, those are those key handoff people. All right, I have a relocation specialist in California that's going to handle this. That relocation specialist is going to help you move to Pennsylvania. And they kind of put all of the pieces together. So you guys can do this on your own, just make some relationships. And you know, I'm freestyling some of these thoughts. You guys can go about this any way that you want. Thoughts are people are leaving. Is it always going to be like that? No, people ran because they wanted some suburbanism, right? For the first time, you know, in a very long time since I've been in the Bay, people wanted to leave the city, right? It was always cool to be in San Francisco. It was always cool to be in these densely populated areas. It was always cool, right? I'm a hipster. I got my flannels. I want to go have beer. I want to have drinks. I want to walk to all these cool things, right? Well, wait a minute. I'm not able to do shit. I want a dog, right? I want a dog. I got some kids. I need a little bit of space. All these things change. So the mindset of a consumer changed vastly in this last year. Are we going to revert back to more people thinking like, yeah, I want to get back to some of that urbanism? Totally, right? We're already seeing it. Tons of things are already opening back up. But I think the way things are going, we're going to fuck around and end up in a shelter in place again. Right? Go ahead to me. And what were you gonna say, brother?
Just along the lines of relocation. So my wife works for First Republic in the city. She's an investigator over there. And, you know, obviously when everything was shut down during the pandemic, everybody is working from home and working remotely. And they look up and they're like, why am I paying all this money for mortgage or rent? I can just go elsewhere and do this same thing remotely. But now First Republic is pulling that rope back, and they're like, wait a minute, we never said that it was okay for you guys to move out of state. We might have to talk about salaries and adjusting them accordingly for where you live at. So a lot of people made moves thinking that the pandemic would be a permanent situation. Right. And now a lot of people are realizing that they have to go back into the cities. They have to go back to San Francisco. They have to be here in the Bay Area, or else they have to find other employment, and it's not as easy in these cheaper places in the country. So a lot of people are getting a wake-up call. I know we might end up back in shelter in place, but this won't last forever. Like, right. So once things do get back to real normalcy, you know, people will have to wake up and get with it. Totally.
And let's think about the appropriation of money, right? If I can go to Georgia and buy a Manor for $250,000 and I could work from home on a Bay Area salary of 250 G's every single year, think of the appropriation of money that's coming into these cities. Well, the companies are like, well, wait a minute, if you're going to be working from home, I don't care if you're in your living room in California, if you're in your living room in Georgia. Well, let's start to think about that, because why am I going to pay somebody that much if the cost of living is so much lower in those areas? And so, you know, employers have to look at this, and they never had to look at this before. And so now it's really making them dive deeper into this. So Damian, I appreciate you sharing. It says, Gabrielle put here, it says, yep, my friend's coworker moved. Just share what you just wrote, Gabrielle.
Yeah, my friend's coworker worked in tech and moved down south. I don't remember if it was Georgia or Alabama, but somewhere down there. And she bought a huge, like basically mansion on like 500,000. And now her job is saying like, oh, we actually didn't give you long-term permission to move out there. So they let her go. And now she's, you know,
crazy
with no tech money. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, well, wait, hold on a second, right? We might need you to come into the office. No one said move to Texas. right? So be aware of these things, because what's going to happen is that some of those people will be like, well, shit, I love this, but I also like that 250 G's. Guess where I'm coming back to? Give me a condo in San Leandro, right? They're going to start coming back. So it's like, it's this ebb and this flow, right? Like people are going to leave, people are going to come back, people are going to stay gone. I was reading a report last year. It was like, most of the people that were leaving California, or excuse me, the Bay Area, were moving to Sacramento. Well, that changed, right? Sacramento is now getting crazy. It's crazy competitive. So they're moving to Washington, Idaho. They're moving out to Reno, which is, has, a Tesla coming out there, new Google headquarters. So all these things are shifting and changing, but we're going to see things come back and come out. So I was watching this video too. It said there's 5 million more millennials between the age of 25 and 34 than there were 10 years ago. These are the prime ages for them to move from being renters into buyers. Why? Shit, life changes. You get into a relationship, you get engaged, you get married, you want to start a life together, you want to move in together, you want to, combine households, combine income, and there's a lot of money, right? I don't know about you guys, but when I was 23, 24 years old, the people around me that I knew didn't have $100,000 in the bank. I'm sorry, they didn't. We were drinking whiskey, we were snowboarding, we were getting high, we were doing all this. None of my buddies had 150 G's. None of my buddies at 24, 25 years old were making offers on homes that were freaking $1 million plus and coming up with 200 G's, right, Damian? My friends, I mean, that would have been cool. Life would have been a little bit different for all of us, but it's a different type of buyer that's out there right now. And so you guys have this millennials that I think that we as a company speak to very well, right? And I think that's why you guys need to get really, really strong on your social game. I love what I'm seeing Ernesto doing. I'm loving seeing what Gabrielle doing, like tons of you guys. I go on and on and on, but being able to speak to them and meet them exactly where they are. So I want to share something with you guys really quick. We're not going to watch all this video, but I want to share this video with you. So it's in Slack, and watch this
They're buying
video.
houses fast and paying a lot for them. It's all contributing to the hottest market since the housing crisis in 2006. No matter what kind of house you're looking for, the price of a mid-range one of those likely went up by more than 20% in 2020.
Okay, here's what I recommend that you guys do. I recommend that you watch this video. It's in Slack. It's where everyone moved during the pandemic, maps and data. Digest that or dissect that data and be able to do a short video, be like, oh my God. All right, who are my Texas people? Who are my Tennessee people? Where are all these people that are moving? And like start doing some small little clips based off of that video. I thought it was a really, really great video to really help you understand what's happening locally, what's happening nationally, and where are all these people going to. That way you can start being the problem solver, start putting together all the pieces. So want you guys today, watch that video. It's in the Market Updates channel. It's one of the most recent videos. And I want you guys to block out some time in your day to do market research, right? What I want you to always have is something fresh, right? You're sitting at an airport waiting for a flight to Denver. Can you speak intelligently about the market? Some dude sees Raymond Rosales on his computer. He's like, oh, real estate, huh? How's the real estate market, right? I want you guys to be able to drop some game, right? I don't want you guys to have these same run-of-the-mill answers, some run-of-the-mill, responses. Like, I want you guys to be able to drop game on people and be like, wow, like I never thought about it like that. So that's my challenge for the day. I want to go around the room. I want to hear from a couple of you, what you're experiencing, what you're seeing, what are some of the nuances, changes, variations, whatever. So I'm going to turn to you, Ernesto. Ernesto, what are some things that you are experiencing, you are seeing firsthand with clients that you're dealing with?
Yeah, I was going to say, as it relates to the market, I think we as agents have to be careful disseminating information that might set the wrong expectations to our buyers and sellers. And what I mean by that is, when I'm on CNN, I'm on Bloomberg, and I'm on Keeping Current Matters, the general message is that the market is no longer hot or that it's super duper cool. And so people share that. And so like I have a buyer right now who's telling me that. He's like, hey, Ernesto, why don't we just lowball everything? Because obviously the market is cool, right? And that's not the case. Like I was running some MLS data yesterday, and what I'm finding in some cities that I'm looking at is that yes, days on market are going a little bit longer. And the gap between the list price and the sales price is maybe not as high. So the hysteria maybe has come down a little bit. But if you look at like a dollar per square foot breakdown, prices aren't necessarily coming down. So I think there's a time to zoom out, right? If a buyer really, really wants a home and we're asking them to come up 30, 50 grand, like we ask them to zoom out, like look at 30 years, right? This is very, very like minor, but sometimes we have to zoom in. And if we're sharing information from national like media companies and we are programming our buyers to think that it's less competitive, like that's really, really dangerous. Kenny's here. I wasn't expecting him. I'm sorry. Because yeah, like to your point, prices aren't coming down a lot. I think the hysteria has come down, but in the Bay Area, for us to be telling our buyers, oh, it's cooled down, don't worry about it, I think we're going to set a lot of people up to be upset.
Yeah, they need to know. And that's why pooling your data, sharing with them how many offers were on each home, what the percentage was over asking, give them that data. Like they need to see, all right, well, this house here on line 1, that was 12% over. This one was 22% over. This one had 11 offers, 12 offers, 6 offers, 9 offers, 2 offers. That way they know, okay, yeah, it's a little less competitive, but nonetheless, it's competitive. Gabrielle, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying like as a slightly contrasting point of
Gabrielle, can you turn your mic up just a scotch?
I can, but I'll filter. Is this better?
Yeah, a little better.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is like as a contrasting point of view to what Ernesto is sharing, what I'm seeing in the entry level condo market, so like 475 to 600K in Oakland, something that's returning is price reductions. You know, even like a few months ago, you wouldn't really see a price reduction on a condo because they would move so quickly in that price range. But now I'm seeing condos that I first showed my buyer like a month ago who now have a 25K, even 50K price reduction to try and stimulate some interest from buyers. So I think it really depends exactly what your price point is and what you're looking at, even in Oakland.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin, what are you seeing out in the Tri-Valley area?
I wanted to start with Fairfield. So we were really hot on a property in Fairfield, and it got no offers last week. And my buyer decided to pull out because he didn't want to do some of the work on it. But so that was really interesting to see. And then South Livermore, there were 6 offers on a $2 million property. We were kind of in the middle on that one. We didn't want to go chase it to the top, so we pulled out of that one. But so I'm still seeing. I think the lower end, so to your point earlier, there's less competition, but Ernesto said it right in that the price, I'm not seeing price drops significantly, because we're still seeing the most recent ones. You look at price per square foot and it's still, it's still level, it's still in there. So yeah, I think everybody summed it up pretty well, and we're seeing that out here at, in the Tri-Valley too.
For sure. I love it. So let's do this, you guys. I made Ernesto. I made you the host, Ernesto. So you are going to be the host. Let's just continue this conversation. Kathy's going to jump in. I want to hear from Pamela, whoever else wants to jump in, you guys. I'm going to let this be a self-serving meeting. I'm going to run into a leadership summit that we're hosting here in Brentwood. But this is all about you guys, the collective wisdom. So just continue to have this conversation, you guys. I'm going to turn it over to Ernesto. Thank you for allowing me to step off. And no, this isn't from the club. This is from the campground yesterday. All right, so Ernesto, you guys hold it down for me. Do what you guys do. Get the collective wisdom going. Take some notes, and then do me a solid. I want you guys to watch that video, dissect a couple pieces of it, and then circle back to me or create a video, put it out on social. Do what you guys do. So have a wonderful, wonderful day. Ernesto, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Sounds good. Appreciate it. Kathy, I see your hand up, so we'll go to you in a little bit. I wanted to come back to Gabrielle's point. I don't think your comment contrasts mine at all. If anything, I commend you, and I think it reinforces what I believe in is it doesn't do our local buyers any justice for us to just be sharing things that the national media is saying about the general super high level status of the market. So the fact that you know those numbers about condos specifically and the price point that you do, if you decide that you want to be like the condo expert, and I forget her name, but there's a girl in San Francisco who's like the downtown condo queen, like that's her thing. So Gabrielle, if you want to be like the Emeryville, Oakland condo queen, and you're the only person who's sharing that information, like who do you think is going to stand out as an expert in the East Bay condo market? It's going to be you. So I think it's awesome that you know that information specific to condos, specific to price points. And I think it really puts like, I think it labels you as like the local East Bay condo expert. So that is awesome. I love that you know that. I did share a report that I found useful. I think Sotheby's puts it together. I was looking at it last night, kind of a market update report, and I like it. I like how simple it is. I think it leaves out some context that I would want to know as a buyer or as a seller. And even then, I think a lot of people don't really want to sit there and read a report. So I think it's good information for maybe us as agents to go through, maybe put, create some videos around the information that's in there. So I posted that in the chat. I hope that that's useful for you guys. Kathy, you've been patiently waiting. We'll go to you next.
Okay.
Kathy Daniel, there you go.
Not sure what I'm doing. Hold on. Damn it. Hold on.
You're good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So here's what you guys need to remember is when everybody is coming to you saying, oh my God, I hear the market's crashing and all this kind of stuff. Remember, they're hearing national numbers. They're seeing things on the news and they're seeing things in general from realtor.com, Zillow, that kind of stuff. Those are all national numbers. Remember, the Bay Area is the last to feel any kind of crash and the first to recover it. The Bay Area and New York City, those are the two areas. So keep that in mind. Remind your people that they're listening to national numbers. And then for those of you that have people that have to come back to work, I'm dealing with a couple people from Google right now. One guy moved out to North Carolina. Now Google's telling him he has to come back. So what I'm doing is working with somebody. We're putting a group of people together so that they can share an apartment. 4 men sharing an apartment. They can share all the expenses of that from Sunday night to Thursday night. And then Friday they take off and go home to wherever that's at. For my guy, it's North Carolina. So there's always a solution. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I just typed in a couple of resources in the chat that I have found useful. Just keeping up with the news. I think what we were seeing is that, yes, tech companies have finally decided to, I know Google is doing this, a bunch of other companies, they have actual calculators. It's like, hey, employee, you used to be based out of San Jose. If you decide to permanently stay in Idaho, this is how much your salary is going to go down by. And a lot of people are deciding, I don't want to make that trade-off. I'd rather come back to the Bay Area, get my full salary. Even if that means that I'm dealing with traffic and the high cost of living, it's still better for me. So now it's a little bit more clear, kind of I think it was Demian who used an example of people that have to make a decision that they weren't expecting. There was a report by the USPS that came out, so the post office. A lot of people. So yeah, I mean, Elias shared that over 100,000 people have left California. I think between just tech companies and the number of tech employees that left, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that has to do with those employees. And there was a lot of post office data last year that came out and U-Haul data that came out as well. That realistically what happened is a lot of people did leave the Bay Area, but they went to places like Solano County, Sacramento, places where you have, big lots and more space for your family. But now that we have some clarity about how these companies are going to pay people that decide to work remotely, we should start to see some kind of stabilization of those employees maybe coming back to the area. So if we don't know those things or we're not sharing those things with our local buyers and sellers, to Kathy's point, us just sharing national news doesn't really paint the accurate picture of what's happening in the Bay Area. Any other resources that you guys like, or kind of what are you guys referring to stay on top of the market?
I know that Elias has talked about it a lot, and it's something that I think is really good. They just had the new one, is the Bay East Weather Report with David Stark. And I think the new one just dropped like a couple days ago. And I think they even talked about how, Bay Area as a whole, for like the first time over a year, prices have actually come down a tiny bit. But if you look at from city to city, like Oakland's still up year over year as far as price goes. And I think that what's crazy about the Bay Area, right, is it's so segmented and there's so many different pockets. That here in Oakland, we're even seeing it, from zip code to zip code. Some prices are still going way over, still getting multiple offers, but some of the lower price zip codes are not seeing that kind of competition. Like, and I'm just speaking again too from just my listing itself that's sitting in right off Foothill, has not got the activity or the traction that, we would have got even just a couple months ago. But you go to like Mills Mall or you go back to Piedmont or anywhere like in the hills, and, you're still seeing multiple offers. They're receiving, things within a week, and it's still going pretty quick. So it's just kind of zip code to zip code. And that's what's so crazy about the Bay Area. And I think that's what's great about these calls is like, like I feel comfortable with like, oh, the single family homes in Oakland in certain zip codes. And then you have Gabrielle who knows like the condo market. And then you go to Kevin and, he looks at places like Livermore, San Ramon. And it's just like, things change from city to city and even within those cities from zip code to zip code. So I think it is just really good. And that's why I really like Bay East, like David Stark's Bay East, like weather report. So super cool. And I wanted to give a shout out to Sharon Bohoman. I haven't seen you, Sharon, in a while. What's up? How are you?
Hey, Raymond. Are you still in Castro Valley or where are you now?
I'm in Oakland, so I'm actually part of the team here. So I'm not doing title anymore. I'm here now selling real estate.
Sweet. Okay, we got to catch up.
Cool. I'm curious, maybe drop a comment or a reaction. Who would like to see maybe a video where we show you how to look at how many offers came in on a property? Do all of us feel comfortable doing that?
I would like a video.
Is that Pam? Pam, you like a video?
Yeah.
Nicole?
I just wanted to say something.
Yeah, go for it.
So this is regarding the sellers, because right now, when people are taking listings, I had mentioned it, I don't know, a month or so back, that if you're taking a listing, it's very important to have that conversation with the client on how to prepare. If you don't, how are we going to make the price adjustments as the market's moving? And making sure you're having that conversation on the front end, because you don't want to get them listed and it's not moving, and you got to go back and have the conversation. You want to know up front, because there is a number. They may say, you know what, if I don't get this amount, I don't want to sell. So you need to have that conversation on the front end, and that has to be, it should be an addendum. We have an addendum that says if, in the first 14 days, 30, 60, what the number looks like, so that you're following, you're ahead of the, the trend of it going down. And there's no hard feelings or a pissed off seller because they weren't prepared for what we can see now is happening.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely important to set the right expectations. I know that on my listing, we didn't have a lot of offers. We had 4 total offers. And that's kind of a good and a bad thing. You don't need 20 offers if you have 4 really, really strong offers. But if our sellers are expecting that we are, it was common in the winter and in the spring all throughout the Bay Area for people, like it was all over the news. Homes received 40 offers, 60 offers. We were sharing it on our chat, and we're just not seeing those things. And I know that the number of offers that come in, like whether or not somebody actually updates the MLS and inputs that information, that doesn't always happen, but that's where we can use kind of just our network. And that's one of the things that I like to share with people that I work with, buyers and sellers. I'm able to tap into information from over 150 agents, and the general consensus is that you're not seeing as many offers. So Mr. Seller, I don't want you to feel disappointed if weekend one, of showings, we see only 4 offers come in. That's probably more in line with what is actually happening. The important part is that, again, we're not seeing prices decline a whole lot. So what will most likely happen, once we look at some data, is we won't see as many offers come in, but we should still land kind of where everything else has been going. And I think setting those expectations up front with data is super duper helpful.
I'll jump in on the Central Valley side, give you guys some updates over here.
Yeah, what's going on? You're our local, definitely. I mean, when I think Central Valley, I think Spivey. So, Michael, hit us with some data.
All right, so yeah, starting off, essentially going from Tracy to the Lathrop Manteca line, from there going to Stockton. That's kind of the progression that you're going to find your buyers going. As of right now, the two main markets I would say are the new home and just the resale. As far as the resale, homes definitely sitting for longer. Things aren't selling. That's the same thing over in, Lathrop, Manteca, Stockton, Tracy, all that. But as far as the new homes go, there's still a good amount of activity and you guys will still find your buyers on these lists. The biggest change I've seen is everybody's tending to go towards these larger homes of these new homes. So if you do have buyers in the smaller plans of the new homes, I've been finding that they've been getting to those a little bit faster, or the lists have been shorter. But yeah, that's just, what I'm coming across. And also kind of keep in mind, if you're looking, like say Tracy Hills, for example, there's a Meritage. You can go to the same Meritage in Manteca and it's almost $100,000 less. So there's, pretty good price range that you guys can find just looking from city to city. But yeah, ultimately things are still moving over here. There's still a good amount of activity. So definitely don't come to this side expecting it to be just super easy. But yeah, that's a pretty quick update as far as Central Valley side.
Cool, appreciate that. I think Kevin
Yeah,
Magny had your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Michael, hey, so when you compare Mountain House to other cities in the valley out there,
Yeah.
How does it compare, school-wise, home size-wise, quality? Just curious, have a buyer that's, looking farther east than originally anticipated.
Okay. So school-wise, I don't have the exact answer for you as far as that comparison, but as far as the homes go, pretty much the Mountain House Tracy homes, they've been a pretty good size as far as like just the room size comparison. I've definitely had people say that the room sizes in Tracy were just a little bit larger. I don't know if they need to be a little more desirable to, be at the price point that they're at right now on the Tracy Mountain House side, just because that price point is, the 800, going up from there. So yeah, homes wise, I would say just like that Mountain House Tracy line is just slightly, I don't want to say larger overall, but I just have found that the rooms within Tracy and Mountain House could be a little bit larger.
Thanks.
Hopefully that helps answer the question.
Awesome. Appreciate that insight. And I'll just say for me, that's one of the things that I appreciate about being on this team. I recently was introduced to a buyer who wants to buy in Fresno. I don't know Fresno. When I think Fresno, I think Josue. So I immediately called Josue and we're probably going to partner on it, or he's at least going to help me do some showings. And if I had anyone in the Central Valley, the only person I know anywhere that's sharing information about places like Lathrop and Tracy and Stockton is the Spivey group. So if I had someone out there and I needed to reach out to someone, I would immediately call them. So that's one of the things that maybe we immediately don't think about, but I'm sure it will in the future come up where you have buyers that want to, or buyers or sellers that want to, do business out there, and having those people on this team that are active and experts in those areas, I think is super duper helpful. Nicole, you had your hand raised.
I can't hear.
Pam, you had a comment?
I was going to say, as far as resources, I had found a little pocket cheat sheet with the RPR when you put the app on your phone, and it'll give you the report within a half mile of you. It'll list out like how many for sale, how many for lease, how many new, and all of that, just as a resource.
Heard an app and RPR cheat sheet. I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of those things. If you wouldn't mind maybe dropping a comment in the chat or maybe later posting in Slack. I love just the sharing of resources, and I've been posting some in the chat where we can go. I know we have our market updates channel in Slack. A lot of us use the East Bay Weather Report. I found a resource that Sotheby's puts together in the Bay Area. So those are some things that I use aside from hopping into MLS and kind of pulling data that way. But I always love learning how other people are pulling market data. So that one I've never heard of. Cool. Thanks, Nicole. We have nobody with their hand raised. Oh, Pamela, you had something to say?
I was just going to chime in about the Central Valley thing about the mountain. One more item about the Mountain House thing is that when people are looking to come to the Central Valley, Mountain House, of course, is going to be the top on the list because they're just right over the they're coming right over the, over the hill. And it's like 20 minutes to get from Mountain House to get to, River Islands. That might be another 30 or 40 minutes. And we're like $100,000 spread between River Islands and Mountain House. You're at $100,000 difference, only because you don't, if you don't want that commute. So I just wanted to throw that in from the stuff that Michael added. Just wanted to add that in. And didn't pay attention.
Cool. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know those areas well. I know that a lot of us have people that are relocating and are leaving the Bay Area. So I'm glad to have as much knowledge and as much reach as we have. So for anyone that's on this call and you're newer and you're not familiar with some of these names or faces, I hope it's reassuring to know that we have a big reach. Like we have a huge reach throughout all of Northern California. So if you ever need some assistance understanding those markets or partnering so you can still help people in those areas, we have people basically everywhere. I'm curious, are there other resources that we haven't discussed where you guys go and get market data? I'm also curious, is there anything that maybe as a team we could be doing to make it easier for all of us to be sharing this information with our friends and family? I don't know if some of us have email distribution lists. I don't know if some of us create videos. Like, how can we make it easier? What resources do you feel we don't have? I am seeing Amy. Amy, we'll go to you.
I'm adding to your request, not really making it easier because I'm still learning all these tools myself, but I am coming from a microcosm of I live on Half Moon Bay on the coast side. So I'm in San Mateo, but I'm like this little strip of coastline that's very small. So like right now we only have 15 active listings and that doesn't change very much. Our inventory has been low for like a year and it moves slower. The median house price is high. It's like 1.9, 1.8, the list price will be 1.6, but the sale price will be 1.9. But like I'm learning how to use the MLS. So that's something that I'm requesting maybe, and I know now we have this amazing mighty network and I'm going for else, but if we could get just like a tutorial on market research on the MLS, and that probably already exists in MLS. I go on, I look at my little map in my area and I just kind of try to like crunch numbers by myself, but I'm sure there's a better way of doing it. So I'm just putting that out there.
Cool. I appreciate that. Does anyone else feel the same way? Like how to go in the MLS itself and pull data from there rather than relying on somebody else's East Bay video or book that they put together. I'm curious to see how much of a demand there is for that.
I just want to say something. This is Shayla. I have been a realtor for about 4 years now, and I have found the MLS to be kind of difficult to understand. So I think that more training on navigating the MLS would be good to talk about, because I have San Diego MLS because it's cheaper for me, and EXP covers all cities in California. So I just co-op with, who am I co-oping with? Bay East. But I spent like 4 hours trying to pull properties, and it would have been a lot easier if there was like more training. That's all I want to say.
Okay, awesome. Couple of requests.
Hey, I can help you guys with that. I've been doing this forever. I can help you with that easily.
Okay, awesome. Kathy, I'll reach out to you offline. I'm recording some videos today with Sierra, transaction coordinator, but the more videos that people feel like we need and we can kind of create together and just add into Mighty Networks, that would be awesome. So Kathy, I will catch up with you. We'll set something up. Maybe we'll ask Nicole and Shayla and Amy, like what kinds of things they want to learn how to do in the MLS. And then we'll make videos around those requests. And then going forward, everybody can learn from you. And Amy's clapping. Cool. Awesome.
I have a question for you guys. Have you been experiencing longer appraisal times? Like are appraisers a little tougher to get on schedule these days?
Yes, appraisers are extremely dangerous right now. First of all, it can take up to 21 days to get an appraiser. It can take 10 days to, that appraiser has to have 10 days to get it back. I would suggest that if you're looking for a quick close, that you have an actual appraisal in hand when you list the property. That can help move the process forward with the lender. And then the lender will obviously still do their own appraisal, but that will certainly help push that process a lot faster. And if you have an FHA buyer, they can decide, the lender can decide if they want to accept your appraisal. So it can move things very quickly that way. But appraisers are a nightmare right now.
Yeah, I've been dealing with that. Just went into contract the end of last month and couldn't get an appraiser on schedule until the 19th. And then they're saying they can't get the report back until the 25th. And I'm like, I've never seen anything that drastic in terms of the appraisal. So it's been a headache, trying to.
And I just had to fight an appraisal. I had an appraisal come in low, less than list, which was crazy. And I had to fight the appraisal, and the appraisal, just the process to fight it now was so convoluted and so long and drawn out. My buyers were like, just give it up. We'll pay the extra money.
Yeah, I think the general consensus, that's what I've been hearing all year, is that appraisals have been running slow for the most part. I think there are some nuances. There's some cities where it's worse than others. San Francisco, they're actually known to be a little bit quick for the most part, but outside of that, I'm hearing that it's just taking a while. So I love that tip, Kathy. I know sellers sometimes will have the inspections on hand to speed that up and increase the odds of someone waiving their inspection contingency. But I don't often hear of sellers paying for an appraisal ahead of time. That's a great tip. So thanks for sharing that.
And it's a great listing tool. It's only $400. If you're lucky, it's $400. It's a great listing tool. It's like, look, I'll pay for an appraisal up front. This will make our process go a lot smoother and faster. And here you go. Nobody else is going to do that for you. And it's, write it off in your taxes.
I love it. Great tip. We are at, so it's 9:21. We got about 9 minutes left. I want to circle back to market update specific questions or feedback. So, we have a lot of really, really smart people on the call. Let's take advantage of that. So if anybody has a question or needs a little help with anything market related, how about we shift towards that topic again? So we have a request for some MLS training. We've been sharing different resources here in the chat. We also have a market update Slack channel where we post a lot of things. Outside of that, like how can we, better support one another in being experts in our local areas?
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
So, David Stark will come out. I don't know, because of COVID, if he comes actually if he'll do like a Zoom meeting, but he will show us all the tools that are available through the Bay East. They have a ton of historical stat type of data that's there. But if you don't know it's there, you won't even know where to go look for it. But there's so much information, and he will give like an overview of what's there. And right now is a good time that, especially new agents coming in, to be able to know that resource is there.
Yeah,
Okay.
can I add to that?
Yeah.
Whenever David has come out to, any meetings that I've been to, he always tells people that he is welcome for phone calls. You can email him directly. So he's very open to talking to people. I've called him directly. I've had meetings with him one-on-one just to go over market things. So he's very approachable. And then as far as Bay, because I know some of the different MLSs, I know Bay East is on Paragon. I know they've been kind of shifting some things around. But Paragon has some really good reports. And with Bay East, at least, I don't know if he still comes out, but Scott Hamling, I think, he used to come out and do like a whole class on how to actually, fight appraisals. And he showed a great report that allows you to really do like a 2-year, market analysis. And he goes over how to generate this report in the MLS. So he might be a good resource if we wanted to have, him at some point come and just talk about that process. And then he goes over how to generate that report regardless of what MLS you're on. But But yeah, there are some great reports in the MLS where you can do your own market research.
Sharon, that's a great share. What was that person's name?
Scott Hamling. He used to be with Cherry Creek Mortgage. I mean, he's the VP of Cherry Creek Mortgage, but I think Cherry Creek changed their name. I can't remember if they, but I'll find the resource and then I can send it over to you. But yeah, Scott Hamling. He was a regular presenter at Bay East.
Okay. I didn't know that. So I have a couple of follow-ups to do. I will circle back with Kathy. We'll schedule recording a training about how she uses the MLS so that we can get better. I think it would be super beneficial for us to learn how to tell the story about what's happening in our own backyards, relying on really, really high level, really generic. CNN says the market is cooling. CNN says there's a market crash coming. I don't think that really helps us. So Kathy, I will reach out to you. I did not know that David of Bay East would be willing to speak to our office. So I will work to schedule that as well. And then Scott Hamling, who I've never even heard of. So Sharon, I will definitely keep in touch with you. So those are, I think, 3 fantastic resources that we didn't even know were out there that we will take action on based off this call alone, which I think is amazing. Cool. Well, that was great. I personally take a lot from this. I'm newer to the industry as well, but fantastic resources. We have 5 minutes left. We'll just kind of open it up. Gabrielle says such a helpful call. I agree. It's a great call. I've learned so much today. And I've learned so much about just, again, different people that we have in different areas. So if you're not an expert in that area, just call somebody. So pretty soon, Gabrielle's going to be the East Bay condo queen. So she is who you call for all things East Bay condos. Amy's going to dominate Half Moon Bay. So you can call her. Yeah, we have 5 minutes left. Just kind of open it up, Q&A, general feedback.
So can I say something? I'm driving really fast. I just want you guys all to remember that I'm completely an active adult senior living specialist. I've testified in Sacramento twice as an expert witness. I have ways that people can buy houses as a senior, 62-year-old senior. Legally, you're not a senior till you're 67, but at 62 years old, I have a way that you can buy a house without ever making a payment. I think that would open up the market to a lot of people who have houses to sell in the Bay Area. I'd love to partner up with you guys. I'd love to teach you that stuff. So just keep me in mind if you have anybody that's looking to retire, move into senior, active adult, whatever. I'd love to work with you.
That is awesome. Thanks, Kathy. Kathy, are you familiar with Prop 19? My guess is yes.
I actually taught a class with Aria, and I've taught classes out in the Brentwood area about Prop 19. So between Prop 19 and reverse mortgages, it's a whole new world people just are not taking advantage of. And I can put people into, my husband and I are actually looking at buying a house that's listed at 1.8. We just have to put 50% down and we will never make a payment on it at all. And we can take our taxes from our $235,000 purchase 23 years ago and paying taxes on $235,000 for an almost $2 million house. I can open up your world, trust me. So let's get it together. Let's do some classes on that.
I love it. I think what I love about today's call is it's amazing how much wisdom, like I know Elias says it until you see it in action, like the collective wisdom. Think about all the great resources that just came from this call. Just thanks to us just having open dialogue. So Gabrielle says, I think it would be cool to maybe have a directory of people that specialize in like different things. Yeah, I totally agree. Cool. All righty. Anybody else? We have 3 minutes left.
Hey, I just wanted to add something. It's not about the market, and I know I brought this up before on a meeting a few months ago, but the YPN fundraiser for Camp Wilmot Sweeney is finally like opened up. So I'm just going to drop the link in the chat with the bit.ly link and everything like that so that you can kind of see more about it. Again, we're trying to raise funds for like a children's camp. They're looking for, sports equipment. An air hockey table was like the big ticket item. And I know that, within just our team alone, we can definitely get all of those things accomplished. So I definitely appreciate if you guys, felt like throwing in a little bit.
That's awesome. Oh, my husband's calling. I got to go, guys. Bye.
Cool. Yeah, Raymond, I know you shared that fundraiser with me a couple months ago, so I'm glad that it's live and you're ready to go. So I look forward to seeing that list and seeing how I can help you guys out.
Awesome. I appreciate you, Ernesto.
Cool. 2 minutes. Anybody else?
Yep, a shameless plug. I dropped my my listing in the chat. If anybody has any buyers in the Central Valley, this is in Valley Springs. It's like 30 minutes from Stockton. Send them down. I'm willing to show my clients preemptive offers.
And in that case, I'm definitely following Damian's lead. I'm definitely going to plug my listing too, because it's been sitting for almost 30 days. So I definitely need some offers, guys. Come on. We just did it
Where's it at?
in Oakland, right off Foothill, and we did a huge price drop. We brought it down to 625, and I think the price per square foot, we're definitely super competitive. We're actually way lower than anything else in the area.
Single family
home.
Come on, somebody got something for you.
That's what I'm saying. I've been trying to get this thing sold. 524 Congress Ave. Come on, people, bring your buyers.
Raymond, if you can maybe tag us in that, we could kind of share it on our social for you. We should be able to bring you a buyer. I think it's rare. I think it's always a good opportunity for us to have a direct line of communication with the listing agent. So can make this a win-win for Raymond.
Yeah, definitely. Come on. And it has a bonus unit. So there's rental opportunity. My seller was actually renting out the bonus unit for $1,000 a month. You know, it doesn't have much of a yard. It's not a bad neighborhood, but it is right off Foothill. But again, bring some buyers, people. Let's make this happen.
Raymond, would you hit me up? I may have someone.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Yeah, I know a team in Brentwood that does a lot of house hacking. So I will send them a message. Raymond, let's connect. I remember us talking about this listing, and they have a lot of clients that are specifically looking to house hack, and that's a great property to do that in. So I'll definitely do my part to help you out.
Awesome. I appreciate it. See, I love this team.
All right. Sharon has messaged me Scott's number. Let me just jot it down before we end the call. 303-226-8848. Cool. Awesome. Well, I don't want to take up anybody else's valuable time. It's a great call. Thanks for being so active. I love just how much came out of us winging it. So everybody have a great day.